One of the interesting questions that I got was, at what point do you have to set up as a business? And that's a really not personal, as in like you might be upset if I answer it, but like it's a really personal thing. It's different for everybody, right? I don't know if anybody else can chime in on this, but when would you set up as a business? I mean, I think eBay is like if you've sold, it doesn't matter about profit. If you've sold over £3,000 in a 12-month period, that would class you as a business, and they'll start not reporting you, but like sending your stats to the HMRC, which will then come to you and ask you for stuff. That's not a scary thing. It might sound it's not a scary thing. Set up as a business, and it doesn't matter. Pay your taxes, all that sort of stuff. When to set up as a business though is like a massively that would be one point. I would personally set up as a business immediately. Again, your accountant is going to be the one to explain to you how to set that up. It's quite easy to do, but do you want to be a sole trader or do you want to be a limited company? There's two different ways of doing it, and there's pros and cons on both. Depends how big you want to get and how. I mean, once you get to doing $7,000 a month, which might seem a million miles away or not, you have to register VAT registry. You have to be VAT registered. And you can only do that once you've set up a limited company. So if you're a sole trader and you're doing $7,000 a month, 3 months in a row, you have to register for VAT, which is fine. Just do that. That's not an issue. If you're thinking, you know what, this could do that. You know, I could make 300 quid a night streaming. I could make 500 quid. I could do £1,000 a night. Whatever. I don't know what stock you've got, which is why it's personal to everybody. But if you're thinking that and you want to get to that, and you're like, man, yeah, I want to do £10,000 a month. You know, yeah, I'm not going to tell you what we do, but a lot more than that. Like if you really want to go for it, and you want to at some point get to that, right? Then I would personally speak to an accountant and say, hey, I've been looking online and I would like to, my ambition is to do this and make this amount of money over X amount of time. Would you recommend me just starting straight up as a limited company, which costs like 13 quid to register? Like it's not, there's not a lot to do. You need a bank account and stuff, which you probably have anyway. But would you recommend me doing that from day one, or start as a sole trader and then go into it? They'll tell you what they recommend based on your circumstances, massively based on your circumstances. I personally, because my ambition is to make £1 million or 10 million or whatever, my ambitions are big. So it makes sense just to go straight in as a limited company. I didn't know that, and for the last 12 years have been a sole trader, and then now my business, because we had to register as VAT, my business has only actually been running for a year, which I'm like, oh man, I could have had on the wall established 2012 or whatever it was, pardon me, which doesn't really matter, but yeah, from doing my other things, so in my mind, my ambitions were big enough that it was worth setting up as a business, and I should have just done it back at the time. Yeah, so I would recommend speaking to an accountant, whoever you decide to be your accountant. There's another video on how to choose your accountant. But I would recommend speaking to somebody that would be able to give you that advice, you personally that advice, because every single person will be different, right? This is why I don't recommend my accountant to anybody, because unless they come to me with a similar circumstance, I'm like 1,000% he's the best in the world. Like I would only have him if he was anyway, but it's not for everybody, right? For whatever reasons. So yeah, I would do that, and make sure when you're speaking to them, they explain it well enough that you understand it. Don't leave the phone call, email list, whatever it is, until you fully get it and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, where you can explain it to your partner, to your mum, to whoever, right? You want to get to a point where it's understood enough that you can explain it to somebody else. That's then fully understood. And then you'll go in and you'll be like, you know what, this is why I do it. Just be careful not to tell people you should do this or that, because it's so different for everybody. It's so different. People that are on a similar level to myself financially, we all have still very different reasons to do certain things. So I would recommend speaking to somebody for sure.